Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United losing at Brighton 2-1. A really frustrating afternoon in the early kickoff at the Amex. Joining me as always is Mr. Joe Smith. Joe, I mean, that was up there with that time we won at Brighton with the goal that was after full time. It was just a bizarre afternoon, or whatever you want to call it. I was going to say evening, it wasn't evening. But really frustrating from Manchester United point of view because we went behind, we got back into it, it looked like we went ahead, and then we ended up losing. I mean, we're going to go back to the beginning. Everyone get involved in the chat and the comments and make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I want to talk about the first half because you were talking about it on the watch along. You were sort of pleased with how Manchester United had set up and the performance and the way we went about our business. You thought that actually, despite going a goal down, we were the better team.
Yeah, we were. We definitely were. No question United were the better team in the first half. And the fact that we were losing is obviously... You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a better team or not. If you're losing, you've lost. So, you know, fair enough. But if we don't just look at the result, I think, especially first half, there were some good things. The problem is, you make mistakes in the second half, which we did, and the second half wasn't as good as the first half. And by the end of it, you're conceding a goal where Brighton have got 3 men spare at the back post. And it wasn't like it was a counter-attack, it was their corner. So we couldn't have been set up more defensively with more time to sort of plan where everyone was going to be. And within 5 seconds of the corner coming in, one half of the penalty box is completely empty from a Man United perspective. That needs looking at, and you need to ask questions as to why that happened. Who was on the near post? Who should have been with those men? As everyone just ran like headless chickens to the ball because we're trying to get a counter-attack and win the game, and instead we've forgotten what defending is. But I do think that some of the response and the reaction that I've seen is completely overblown, and I think this whole thing of we've lost the game so 10 hours got to go, we all saw this coming. Everyone knew that one loss into the season and there was going to be an explosion of Ten Hag has to go comments. It's literally something we all predicted. And obviously that comes off the back of last season, so it's not entirely out of nowhere, I get it. But on the other hand, that wasn't a game that we deserved to lose today. What was it, 75 minutes in, we're 2-1 up with a goal that was not benefit. We didn't benefit in any way by Xerxes being offside, other than he's offside. Like that ball was going in. You know, we created a very good goal there, and it should have been a goal, except for the fact that, unluckily, Joshua Zirkzee happened to be in the way of the shot. But that's a goal that United created. We go 2-1 up there, the game's completely different, and I personally think we win the game. And instead, we're chasing it in the final minutes, and there's mistakes to be spoken about, and tactical mistakes, and substitutions that didn't make sense sometimes. But I think, generally speaking, United put in a good performance there, much better than we have done away to Brighton in recent seasons. And yet we're sat here with the same old story that we've basically thrown it away. It's so deflating and so frustrating.
There is, and loads of comments coming in and loads of chat, and we're going to get into that, and loads of super chats as well. Make sure you are hitting that like button. You might not like the result, like the video. First things first, though, I want to say one thing. I think Amad Diallo deserves a medal after today. After what he'd been through, we didn't even know he was going to play. And he had a tough first half as well, and a lot of us were saying he should have gone off. But he kept going, got his goal, and in difficult circumstances for the kid. So, you know, he's going to be feeling it probably more than anyone today, and I do feel for him, and I hope he's getting the support he needs after having that bad news. Still playing as well. You've got to give players credit. I'm always in awe of people that can sort of play or perform regardless of having bad news like that, because he lost, was it his stepmom?
Yep.
Or, you know, his dad's wife last night, I think it was, or yesterday. So incredible resilience from the kid. I'm going to get into some of the comments and we'll go back to you, Joe. Dan Yates, who's been a member of the Academy for 30 months, thought we were unlucky today. Thought we were unlucky today. 2 minimal offside goals, poor defending, but look at the difference in the football this season. To last, we are okay. Tiemann says, throwing it away is an understatement. Would have taken 1-1 away at Brighton. Ten Hag is at fault for this game. Mark Hatton, who's been a member of the Academy for 44 months, says, performance was decent. Not what we saw time and again last season. Yep. We do need to improve defensively. Just need a little more cutting edge. And look, no one likes to talk about luck in football. It's a sort of taboo topic. If you say luck, people start going berserk at you. But sometimes you can have a little bit of luck, because let's have it right. That disallowed goal, I mean, there's an element of luck there, because it was almost over the line when Xerxes touches it anyway.
There's not an element of luck. It's entirely luck.
Yeah.
The only reason Brighton weren't 2-1 down is luck. They didn't stop us creating a chance. They didn't stop the shot. They didn't play a nice offside trap. The ball got played in, and it happens to hit our striker on the line. It is only luck. So if they were lucky to get that, then United were unlucky not to get it. And anyone who's just, it doesn't matter, we should have scored another one. It's hard to create chance after chance after chance away at Brighton. They're a good side and they seem to have their confidence back with their new manager. You can't just expect to go to Brighton and create 4, 5, 6 game-winning chances. United made and scored 2 goals in this game. And the fact that one of them didn't count is massive. That changes things. We saw the confidence shift after that goal was disallowed. That is massive because not only are you everything that you've worked for, you've broken them down. It's a brilliant counter-attack from Man United. You've done all that. You've been successful, and then it's ripped away from you. You lose a goal, but Brighton essentially gain a goal. These disallowed goals are such big moments because not only have you just been knocked, they've been massively boosted by that. Really, what United did there was brilliant. We scored a goal, and somehow, off the back of us scoring, we've conceded one, essentially, and Brighton are on the attack. Brighton have got all the confidence. It's so damaging. And people are like, it's all on the manager, it's all on this, it's all on Rashford, it's all on whoever. It isn't. Little mistakes cost United today. Maguire let the ball cross in front of him when he should have been a bit more proactive and got it out for a corner. Then he maybe picks the wrong man to mark, or is a yard too far to the left. But also, Martinez doesn't track the right man in the box. He leaves Welbeck unmarked. And there's your first goal. United then create and score 2 goals very well. And the third goal, the third goal of the game, Brighton's second, is shambolic defending. And, we have to accept that. But the fact that we're in the position in the 93rd minute or whatever it was, where it's 1-1, is bad luck.
Yeah.
And you can't sack the manager on bad luck. Obviously, there's different things we can do to mitigate that luck. And United weren't perfect today. But that first half was a massive step in the right direction for me. And if we all just throw the baby out with the bathwater because we only look at the result, we have to accept that we're challenging for top 4 this season. And part of challenging for top 4 is losing games away at Brighton occasionally, or a bit of bad luck cost you the game. We didn't get battered today. We didn't get dominated. We've seen games against Brighton that were more worrying than this one, that we've won. The FA Cup semi-final that we won the season before last, we were awful against Brighton. They should have won that game. United have made big strides forward tactically in terms of how we hold the ball, how we make chances against teams like Brighton, and yet we've lost, and that's going to happen unfortunately this season. I don't think we need to sack every player and get rid of the manager because we've had a bit of bad luck and a couple of small mistakes. I think the reaction here is just a massive overreaction personally.
Michael says 1-1, 80 plus minutes, takes Bruno off. Half time he takes our best player off. What does he see in Marcus? He's shocking. Garnacho has to play. Why did he buy De Ligt? Ten Hag is tactically shocking. Right, there's a lot to unpick there. The Bruno one, I didn't agree with at the time. I'm not going to pretend that I did, so I'm not going to rewrite history. Half time he takes off our best player. We were all saying about Mason Mount. I thought he did well. What does he see in Marcus? You can see what he sees in Marcus. Marcus scored 30 goals in his first season for Eric Ten Hag. Even last season when he wasn't on it, he scored some important goals for him. So I can see what he sees in Marcus Rashford. Garnacho has to play. There's a question to be asked there, and I think eventually he will have to address that. I think he's getting away with it a little bit because it's early season. But sooner or later, you're going to have to say, who is my front 3? Is it Højlund? Is it Xerxes? Is it Garnacho? Is it Diallo? Is it Marcus Rashford? Yeah. You can't have everyone playing. And I get there's rotation and there's this, that and the other. But in a must-win game, you have a front 3. Who is it? So at some point, and maybe even next week, he's got a bit of a decision because it's Liverpool at home. And I think you lose that one, you're in all sorts of trouble. So we'll have to wait and see there. But the De Ligt question, I mean, the kid's been here for 2 games and he's played in both of them. I don't really know what that's about. I think, to be honest with you, he's sort of edging him into starting for Manchester United. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and there's more.
Not knocking the question. I just think that's what the answer is.
We can look at it from any direction. You can say, why have you brought a centre-back on with 10 minutes to go? Is that unsettling the back line? Maybe it is. But was it De Ligt's fault that we conceded that second goal? Absolutely not. And the other thing with subs that he's being ripped for his subs because Bruno coming off didn't win us the game. Garnacho was a sub. He scored a goal that was a fine goal, good position, well played, and it didn't count. But Garnacho came on and scored a goal today as a sub.
Yeah.
So that substitute worked. I don't think De Ligt coming on was a failure. We didn't create much after Bruno went off. I agree with that, but I think this all the subs have cost us today. Well, one of them almost won us the game, and De Ligt was nothing to do with the goal that went in. So maybe the Bruno sub didn't quite work. But and we all said it, I thought McTominay was one of the main focal points of the team when he came on and did quite well. It's hard, isn't it? When you don't win a game, everything's wrong. And Rashford wasn't good again today. So then do you start Garnacho and Ahmad? Because Garnacho's come on twice and looked very good both times. Scored today, didn't count. Ahmad scored today, although he didn't play that well. Like, he's got a difficult question to answer, hasn't he, Ten Hag, in terms of that front three. But just this thing of like, everything he did was terrible and everything United did was terrible and Brighton were amazing. I just don't think that's the case. I think we were a little bit unlucky today.
Can we get these quotes from Eric Ten Hag? If someone can send them over to me. Eric Ten Hag is talking. We're going to get the manager's reaction to that. Michael M says, my point being, start your best team. No excuses. Cueto says, someone explain, if they disallowed that goal, how it would have been unfair to Brighton. Where's clear and obvious error? VAR ruins the spirit of football. CG says, you're talking sense, ignore the immature fans. Tommy McCartney says, I'm sorry, but I do expect to win against the team starting a 70-year-old James Milner in midfield. Not the end of the world, but still disappointing.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. And we should have won. And we're better than Brighton. Yeah. And I think we deserve to win the game personally. But the thing is, their 2 goals were like absolute tap-ins. I mean, the header was decent from Pedro, but there's 3 men open at the back post. The Welbeck finish is like, I would have scored that. The fact we're getting cut open is of concern. But outside of their goals, it wasn't chance after chance. Welbeck had 1 good header that hit the bar. And other than that, they didn't really have many good chances, Brighton. And it's a shame that, their chances have gone in and ours, did go in, but got disallowed.
I don't know if I've read this. I don't think I have. Liam Rescola says, same as last season, wasteful, unlucky, no fit striker at the club, subs that I would make if I was actively trying to sabotage the team. Fed up already. Just on the De Ligt one, because the De Ligt one's a bit of a talking.
What's the issue with that?
With what, sorry?
What's people's problem with the De Ligt one? What is that? I've not seen that. Is it that he's come on at all, or that he should have started? I think
it's one or the other in it. It's either start him or he shouldn't have come on, because I think there's an argument. I'm not saying it's my argument, but there's an argument. Some people saying, why bring him on and sort of upset the defence a little bit, and does that contribute to them having 3 people queuing up, or he should have started? I don't know. I think there's a mixture of all sorts going on.
It does. Just we're upset. And we need
it seems to be very much sort of like everyone's angry, so everyone wants to have a bit of a sort of a question of the manager's tactics. Like I say, we're going to get the Eric Ten Hag quotes shortly, because he's giving a post-match interview. Obviously, he's a man under pressure in it. How much do you worry about him, Joe? Because you're sort of level-headed. You're saying, and I agree with you. I don't want to be that guy.
Don't then.
But
you don't have to say what you're about to say, Jay.
It's true though.
There you go.
It is. If we lose at home to Liverpool next week, going in that international break, the pressure's on him.
Yeah, well,
massively. And I think he could argue, I was unlucky against Brighton, whatever, but there's going to be this sort of, I don't just mean narrative online on purpose, but even with Ineos, I get the impression that there's a slight worry with them that there's almost a begrudging. You can send it to Jay Motti on Slack. There's almost a begrudging sort of, he is our guy because there wasn't really anyone else. So I get there's a slight feeling
sack him now then. If he's only there because you thought Thomas Tuchel was a dickhead, why is he there? They have to do more than that. They have to be better than that. And if you're starting a manager with a season with a manager you don't want, that is shit ownership. So either they back him and they accept the fact that it's not easy to go to Brighton, especially if you have a goal disallowed that would have put you in the lead. It's difficult. Let's say we do lose to Liverpool. Again, we're making up fake losses here so we can sack him quicker, which doesn't really help. But let's say we do lose to him. They're a good side as well. We have to look at the season as a whole. We can't just say, oh, he's lost 1 game and now he's under pressure. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but people are doing that. And what is the point in having him here if you're just going to sack him like that? It's unfair on him. It's unfair on us as fans. It's shit ownership. So I'm hopeful that isn't what's happening. And they'll at least give him to Christmas to see if over the wait, when luck balances itself out and we see the players settle in and we don't have to bring De Ligt in for 25 minutes because he's not fit, which is why he's done that. We can start him from the start if that's what he wants. We can get a team going. We can actually have a few players play a run of games together, because last season we had 17 different centre-back partnerships. Then you decide. But there's no point in bringing him in and sacking him after the 3rd game because we lost to Liverpool and Brighton.
I'm not saying I'm going to sack him.
I know, but
I'm not saying that at all. But I get the impression, and I think McCall said it on the overlap, I think he's right. Like when you sort of, we're rude there. There's always going to be this narrative building, like
there is, but part of their job is to stop that.
And also, I feel like one of the reasons that Erik ten Hag, I think, and I might be wrong, it became difficult to get rid of him last season. I think that FA Cup win massively got the fans on board. Like, the fans were so pro ten Hag after that win. And I think if you lose to Liverpool, and I know it's a fake result, and I get that, but if you do, then I feel like the pressure mounts, and also there's a lot of the fan base, and you mentioned it yourself, that will turn on him like that, and then it becomes a bit of a thing, and it's like he's already under this thing where you feel like he's one game away already from the roof caving in.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me. Because I back this manager, people saying get behind the manager, bro, no, like, I've backed this manager since day one. I backed him before the FA Cup final. Certainly backed him after the FA Cup final. I was one of the few that I thought we'd win the FA Cup final. I think he's the right guy. My point is, as a United manager, Jose Mourinho was 3 defeats away from getting sacked, and he was one of the best managers in the world. He was a guy that the owners brought in and had won trophies at United and had finished second, and yet he was gone by Christmas in his 3rd season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a manager. He was incredibly popular with the fans, and he came in and he was a club legend and all the rest of it. And he was 3 defeats away from losing his job, and he lost it. It happens at Manchester United. Now, you might go, it's different under Ineos, and I understand that, but my point is, if you keep losing matches, and you lose matches early doors, the pressure is on you, and that's what worries me, because I don't want this manager to get sacked. I don't want him to go. My concern is, if results get away from him, that can happen.
Well, so to refute that then, because or what you're predicting rather than what your opinion is, I know, and I understand what you're saying. We've only lost 1 game. We haven't lost to Liverpool. No. We haven't lost any games other than Brighton away. And you're going to lose games. If the aim is top 4, you're probably going to lose 8, 9 games, and you can still finish top 4. Like, these things haven't happened yet, and the problem is, because of last season, and this is understandable to a certain degree, but because of how bad it was in the league last season, we're jumping to that instantly this season. But we need to remember that things have changed at Manchester United. Things have changed all around the manager. We're seeing different performances on the pitch. You can argue that the result was the same as last season, or results like last season, but the performance in the first half wasn't like last season. Last season was awful almost every game, and we haven't seen that in these first 2 performances. For me, the fact that Ten Hag's being talked about being sacked and he's clueless and all this is only a response to last season, not what we're actually seeing this season. And it's a shame, because he sort of brought that on himself to a certain degree, so I get it. But we need to try to direct the narrative back towards winning the next game and what can we take from this. Because to me, watching that, if you watched that and thought that was what it was like last year, I'm watching a different game to you. Because that first half in particular, United with a better team, we pressed fantastically well, and I thought that United easily deserved a draw, if not to win the game today, and it was a little bit of bad luck that prevented that. You don't sack managers because of performances like that.
No.
That's unthinkable to me, and I think we need to push that, or I want to, because that's my opinion. I think that was a much better performance than last season.
Do you think they will back him?
I think they will, and because otherwise they look stupid. You do this big, deep, in-depth. We're checking Tuchel, we're checking Poch, we're checking Potter, Southgate. We're chatting to all these people, and we think Ten Hag's the best guy, and 3 months later we don't. You look stupid. So not just to save their own face, but if you actually believe what you did in the summer, Ineos, then now we need to just nullify this. It's the second game of the season. We can't seriously be talking about whether the manager needs to go or not. I just can't believe that that's where we are, and we knew it would happen. We've been saying it all pre-season.
You said it last night. You said exactly that last night. You said
it. So we're in a position now that we all knew would happen, and we have to try to guide it into a direction that's sensible, that actually helps Man United. Because sacking Ten Hag now and getting whoever the fuck's available, ask Bayern Munich how many good managers are available, by the way, because they've got Vincent Kompany in the dugout. Getting someone in who's better than Ten Hag right now isn't possible. And we don't need to even think about that. United were decent today and a little bit unlucky in a tough ground with a team with new manager and confidence. That's all there is to it. Let's look at Liverpool next week and hopefully win that game. I think that's all that needs to be said on it.
I think Erik ten Hag's just got to stick to his guns.
Yeah, me too.
I do. I think he got it right today. I think in the first half especially, I mean, you can argue about the subs and all that. I think he's got a vision of what he wants to do, and I think we saw it in that first half more than we've seen it in any game really of late that I can think of, maybe other than the FA Cup final, where you could see what United were doing. You could see Mason Mount's role in this team. You could see this is what I'd associate with an Erik ten Hag team from what I've seen in the past, especially Ajax. That was working, and then we went to go behind, and I think there was a lot of changes there. I just feel he's got to stick to his guns, and I think if he sticks to his guns, I think he'll be successful. I really do, and I hope you're right, and I hope that there isn't a sort of a panic that sets in, or that Ineos do look elsewhere or whatever if things go wrong. You've got to stick with this guy, man, because I keep going back to it and back to it and back to it and back to it and on and on and on. But any club that's been successful, the manager's had a lot of worse spell than Erik ten Hag's had at Manchester United. You look going back to Fergie, you look at Arteta, you look at all these other managers, and I just feel that with Erik ten Hag now, we can kind of see what he's trying to do. He's just got to keep with it. He needs to not rest on his laurels. That's a big thing for me. Liam Rascola is the same as last season. Wasteful, no fit striker at the club. Oh, sorry, I've read that one. There was CJ says, you're talking sense, ignore the immature fans. Cueto says, someone explain if they allowed that goal. Oh, sorry, I've read this. Sorry, I've read loads of these. Massive game for ten Hag against Liverpool. Has to get it right at home. Discombobulate. Sam Z says Liverpool game could define Rash's season. Abhinav Verma says mistakes cost us night and day from last season. Yep. This is my Roderick says me game. These geniuses online won't listen to you. Some fans have IQ of a bowling ball. So deluded they expect unbeaten season. Online United fans are completely insane. One loss they send ten Hag out. This is the madness. You're actually seeing this online. Liron Fernando has been a member of the academy for 44 months. Cheers. Says it's crazy. We have 50 matches to play and a few of our players are at different fitness levels. Once the window closes, we can judge the team then. Akash K says some players need offside training. I agree with that. Michael M says, didn't we buy De Ligt to replace the likes of Maguire? Start him. Start your best available 11. You could see the difference immediately when Garnacho came on. I get not starting De Ligt though. I get it. I said this before the game. I understand why Maguire kept his place because he played very well against Fulham. And also, it's a long season, it's a long career. De Ligt's going to get opportunities, and I think he will be a starting centre-back for Manchester United. I understand the idea of not starting him straight away, and I think, to be honest with you, I think he'll probably end up starting against the Scousers.
He's trying to bring him in slowly.
Yeah, I get all that.
Up by giving him minutes.
I get it. Josh M, Ipswich 1-0 if anyone cares, I care. Josh M says, people have to remember we're in the early stage of a club reset and it takes time. Not only that, Brighton is a good team. Heads up, lads.
Well done, correct.
Discombobulate says, away from under the ten Hag, 17 losses, 16 wins, 6 draws. Keith Kelly says, are you really talking about the manager after one loss? It's stupid, lads. They didn't trust ten Hag. They would have found someone else like Bayern.
I like these comments.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of people are behind. Anna L says, Jay, we play better football, but we lack a ruthless edge up front. Let's see what a manager has to say. We got some ten Hag quotes here. He says, we conceded 2 soft goals, which we should have done better as a team. Very disappointed, especially when you are in control for large parts of the game. Also, we are controlling the game in possession, and we are doing so well. And yeah, we got 2 unnecessary goals. On subbing Mount, here you go, this makes sense to me. He had some problems, he had an issue, so we took him out.
Oh, fuck's sake. That's really gutting, isn't it? Hopefully it's a little nothing, but...
I don't know, man. Bizarrely, actually, almost made me feel a bit better, because I thought I was a bit baffled by the Mount substitution.
But if he had an issue... very good first half.
Yeah, if he had an issue, then that kind of makes sense to me. Yeah. Ten Hag says, top-level football is about details. We have to be better in these situations. Both goals were avoidable. That's a good point as well, isn't it? Because you always make this point, Joe, about Ten Hag. He's not telling his defenders not to mark the man at the back post, is it? That's not on the manager, is it? Like, you can't say to me that the manager has to be better there because no one is marking the 3 Brighton players at the back post for a cross. That's players lapsing in concentration.
Completely. Absolutely completely. And like the similar thing with the Chelsea goal last season with Cole Palmer being unmarked on the edge of their box when he was on for a hat-trick, I think. That isn't the manager. And I think some people think that a manager is sat on the sideline with a controller in his hand, controlling every player like he's playing FIFA. He gives people instructions and motivation, and from there, they do with that information what their mentality, what their mindset, what their everything brings to it. No manager on the planet would say leave 3 men unmarked at the back post.
No, that's not a thing,
personal responsibility and the quality of the players on the pitch and getting people getting a little bit giddy to try and win the game because we're going to counter-attack from a corner like we've done to great success many times as Manchester United, and we're all rushing to the ball and there's people behind us. That's just on the players. And not everything has to be a complete and utter failure by the manager. Ten Hag didn't make everyone run to the ball blindly. And if someone had gone pause and everyone stopped and you go and interview the manager, Eric, do you want everyone to fuck off from the back post and run toward the ball? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, do it. Obviously not.
Yeah.
Part of it, like, people forget the responsibility that players have on the pitch. It's not just the manager's wills being instantly imprinted on what we see. The manager didn't want them to do that. Unfortunately, silly things happen in football and we need to improve. And that's the sort of thing that early season as well you see a little bit more of, because people don't have that sharpness, don't have that little bit of sort of, we're back in the season now, we don't do stuff like that. Everyone's a bit giddy, everyone's excited, people don't want to lose the first game of the season or draw the first few games of the season, and silly things happen. But that's not the manager that made them all rush out and leave 3 men unmarked at the back post, is it? Come on.
No, it isn't. There's a sub link in the chat as well. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button if you've not done already, and hit a like. Any positives for today?
Yeah, quite a few. I thought Mount was very good in the first half. The press was excellent in the first half. One of the best presses I've seen from United. Because up until about 5 years ago, we never tried to. That wasn't... I mean, obviously, you would swarm teams, and under Sir Alex, we would overwhelm teams. But in terms of a structured, I can see what the manager wants press, that's about as good as I've seen against a team who's very good at playing out from the back in Brighton. I thought that was excellent, actually. And it was unlucky it didn't lead to more chances. A couple of bobbles that went the wrong way. A couple of times where they'd get it and we'd win it and then it would sort of break down. But I thought United's press in the first half was brilliant. I thought Mason Mount did a lot of good things on the ball and off the ball was excellent. I thought in terms of positives, I thought Mazraoui and Dalot were good again. Mainu was good in the first half. Casemiro, whilst he's, hasn't been completely world class, he hasn't looked like last season's Casemiro. That's a massive relief to me.
That's a good
Once
point.
again today, he looked like a functional, solid, good defensive midfielder, and that's we're not out of the woods yet in terms of last season's form. But if we can keep seeing performances like this from him, that's going to be a massive wiping the sweat off the brow moment, because what we were seeing last season was a finished player, and now he looks like a decent player again. That's a big positive to me moving forward.
Yeah, let's end on a high. Franklin, welcome to the academy. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for your support. And El also says, Jay, from experience, it takes 3 to 5 weeks to reach full match sharpness. Pre-season hurting us again. I think there's an element of just people forget as well. You've had a tournament. You've had 2 tournaments, haven't you, in the summer? I'm not making excuses, but it doesn't matter. This isn't just things you can ignore. We've not even got going yet, have we? So whilst it's frustrating and it is annoying and there are a few questions there, there's still, there's reasons to believe that things will turn out for the good. Kaz Mofo has been a member of the first team for 18 months, says United are lacking in all areas of the pitch, mostly the final third. Clearly not mentally and physically fit for 90 minutes, yes. Yet, trust the process. Franklin, who's just joined us as well, says, let's be honest, do you think Pep or any other good manager would beat this Brighton team today with our current squad? Well,
I think we could have beat them. Another day, we beat them. It wasn't like they didn't batter us. United should have won that game today. We go 2-1 up in the 77th minute. We probably win. We didn't get outplayed. They weren't way better than us. They had 2 chances that were especially the Welbeck one, anyone would have scored. So they had great chances, which is we need to work on that. But United should have been 2-1 up in the 77th minute and won the game today. Many managers would have beaten Brighton with this team, and Ten Hag should have done. Yeah. We almost did. It was a bit of bad luck on the goal line away from at least a draw, if not a win. We don't need to go into sort of crisis mode after that. We need to rebuild, put in a good performance against Liverpool, get a result in that, and go again after that. It's simple. It's not a disaster today. It's a bad result, and that's it.
I agree, and I think we'll beat Liverpool.
Me too.
I do, honestly. I think there's enough in this team, and we've seen enough. I think we'll do him. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. Also, sorry to end on a bad one, but 2-1 City. Well, that lasted long, didn't it?
Bastards.
Ipswich were doing so well. Apparently, City got a penalty. Did they get a fucking penalty every week? Is that part of the fucking contracts or whatever? You're not cheating enough. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, Joseph. Not the result one, but I've enjoyed that chat. Make sure, if you're not doing already, hit that subscribe button. There's a link in the chat to our subscribes. We're going to be getting I think we're going to have a reaction from Stephen Allison later on as well. So make sure you are checking out the other videos on the channel. Go and check out Joe Smith as well on Sloppy Joe's. That's been Joe. I'm Jay. This has been a review. Manchester United losing at Brighton. But you know what? We go again and all that jazz. See you in the next one.